money soldier. I thought I told you. Only rockin' with the agent and the broker, yeah. Move over, we getting bolder. Making moves like the agent and the broker, yeah. Generational wealth, they bout that. Yeah, we took some L's, but we bounced back. Financial literacy, got that. Closing up the wealth gap, yeah, I'm black. Welcome to the Agent and Broker Podcast, hosted by Julian and James. And you know they bringing nothing but that black boss talk, man. Cause there's no currency stronger than the black dollar. And it's time we let the world know. But first we gotta grow though, and that's for sure.
Good evening. Yo, what's up? James, what's going on?
Hey, man, it's a great day. I'm about to get this show started, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We have a very special guest, man, and I can't wait to have, great conversation. Great conversation.
Absolutely. And welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Agent and Broker Podcast. I am your co-host, Julian The Agent, license W6266089.
And this is your boy James. Well, no, my name is James, right? I don't say this is your boy James. License number W282336 down here in Florida. And we're here to bring you another great episode.
Absolutely. We're kicking off another interview, another dope interview, y'all. We got one of the best to do it in the area, one of the best to do it in the game, honestly. Like, if you're not watching his content online, you're missing out. He provides a lot of gems, a lot of good quality real estate content, taxes, real estate, business in general. And if you don't see what he's doing, man, I recommend you tune in tonight and rock out with us tonight. Brother Gene is going to be with us tonight. But before we do go into introducing him and bringing him on, a few quick announcements up this week. James and I will be at a career fair, Orange County Public School career fair on Wednesday. So we'll be speaking with some high schoolers and, teaching them about financial careers and, the way different avenues that they can go other than college. So that's something that we'll be doing this week, and some news that we, some things that we have going on, some events this week as well. Before we do, I'll let James introduce our special guest tonight. He's a great friend of his. And I'll let him take the floor.
Yes, sir. I really look forward to to work with the school, man, and it's a great opportunity for us. Not a lot of us out there want to go to college, and if you're watching this, I want you to know you're not alone, and I want you to know there are options out there. It's a beautiful country. We do have choices here. So in case you don't want to go to college, then we're going to be educating you on on the financial world and what you can expect. But anyway, today is an honor to bring Gene, man. And Gene, you guys may know him as Mr. Real Estate Full Circle. I have a lot of respect for this guy, man. And why is simply because he's all about his real estate. And he's all about, making everything connect with real estate when it comes to insurance, real estate, taxes. You really want to get a great education. I think he's the perfect guy in the local area to actually, put you in the game. But without further ado, Gene, welcome to the show, my brother. Can you hear us loud and clear?
Yes, sir. I can definitely hear you guys, man. Hopefully, I thank you for that awesome introduction there, man.
Hey, listen, let me tell you, if people don't tell you that enough, just know that Julian and I, we watch your content and we highly appreciate what you're doing in the community, man. And not enough people are educated, or some people listen to it, but they choose not to, practice it. But no matter what, you always grinding. I remember seeing you in your truck, unloading your truck with materials to go into a renovation. Right. And, every now and then you come in and then you tell people, hey, this is what's going on in real estate. I even remember that one clip you did where people actually scamming people for like rental property, where they'll actually say, hey, this house is coming for rent. And then the mass people just like, oh man, I want to rent that house. They send application fee and then it's all a hoax. So these are things people need to know that's going on out there. It's a pleasure to have you, man. How you feeling today, brother?
Man, I'm tired, brother. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm not tired in the sense that my body's physically tired. I'm mentally somewhat tired. It's been a day I've been going on like this. Like, you know how what's that road what's that bunny, man? It's always going fast as heck.
Oh, the Energizer Bunny?
Roadrunner.
Okay.
Roadrunner. He's always going. Like,
the Roadrunner.
Always good. That's kind of how I feel today with my brain mentally, but you know, it's always good to connect. It's always just kind of put some things out. Thank you guys for just allowing me to come on here and kind of, you know, speak on your platform. I definitely appreciate it. Hopefully everyone gets some good value from it. And if they have questions or whatever the case may be, I'll let you guys, you know, take the floor with the questions and let's make this thing happen.
Well, we're gonna drain you a little bit more, you know.
All good.
But Julian, I think you're having some skipping on your internet. But can you hear us, Julian?
Man, Julian better get rid of that.
Can you hear me?
You better get rid of that AT&T, man. Spectrum.
Oh man, no.
Yeah, got in that fiber optics, man. Get on that. Be on that other bandwidth, man. What kind of bandwidth you on, man?
But hey, man, we're gonna get it started. What you say, Julian?
Am I back? Y'all can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. A little delay, but you know we can hear you.
Oh man, come on, man.
Okay, no, you're good now. You're good now.
Stop messing up right now. That's crazy, man. I don't understand what's going on with this. I'm about to hook my phone up.
Oh man.
Yeah, but yeah. Honestly, thank you. I couldn't wait to get on this, you know, in this episode and on the podcast and get you on here really to talk real estate. You know, it's one of the hottest things going on.
Oh, the hottest thing.
It is when it comes to marketing. Everybody talks about real estate, getting into real estate. I mean, but it's almost like that boom is kind of like, I don't know. But we're going to let you elaborate more on it, what you think about it, where the market is at and everything. But we have some questions for you tonight, and hopefully some guests have some questions for you as well. But just first and foremost, wanted to thank you as well before we do dive into it.
Okay. So if I'm clear, the first question is where the market is at, right? Is that what it is?
First, we want to know who you are. Of course, introduce yourself to our audience and let them know who you are. You know, everything about yourself. I got you.
So this hat you guys see here with this logo. My name is Guirand. I am founder of Real Estate Full Circle, which has a multitude of other businesses within that, and how I make real estate full circle. So I'm an immigrant. I was born in Haiti, came here when I was like 6 or 7. It's been so long, I don't remember really. I think at least 5, probably 6. I learned English very quickly. Came here, immigrant parents, grew up, went to school, got a degree. Actually didn't finish my other degree, but never used it. I'll use it here and there. And I got into real estate. Well, I've been an entrepreneur all my life, and I say that very, very, very boldly. I can count how many jobs I've had on one hand. It's probably 2. And within those one hand, I can tell you how many months I've been on those jobs were probably maybe 2 or 3 months. And those were for learning lessons in general. But I've been self-employed my entire adult life and young adult life, and even my teenage years. I've just been in business. I just love it. I have a family, have a wife, 3 kids. I have a 18-year-old daughter. I have 2 daughters and a son, whom I grind for every day, who I just kind of try to learn as much as possible. They keep me grounded, honestly, because I thank God for them every day, because they're the ones that keep me really grounded, because sometimes it can get a little hectic. But my company, I have a real estate development aspect. I flip houses, I renovate houses, and I also, teach people how to do it. But that's very limited because I kind of want to get a good feel whoever I teach with. I feel like everyone should have, I feel like everyone should connect before we do business. But if I don't connect with you, I can't do business with you. I can teach you, give you what I know, and then you go apply it. But for me to do business with you, which is coaching you, I had to connect with you. And that's essentially it. That's how I make real estate full circle. Our model is, how can I make real estate full circle for the individual, whether they're a regular person, a 9-to-5 person, entrepreneur who wants to diversify their portfolio or get into real estate. How do I make that full circle? And how does my team make that full circle? And also, I forgot to mention, I am a realtor as well. And I have a team, me and another agent. We kind of help people buy properties out of their first, second, or third home. And that's through the Guirand group. So let's give people some information. But that's essentially who I am. I love to eat too. Matter of fact, let me not forget that part. I love to eat. So that's a part of it too. So outside all the business, I love to eat. I just have a new workout regiment now. I like to work out because if I'm eating a lot, I got to work out. That's essentially it.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's just me. But this right here, I try to make this every day. My motto is, how do I make this come to life more? That's it.
That's what's up, man. And I know I like the fact that you mentioned you like to eat, because I was gonna say that. I'm like, bro, you didn't mention that you actually eat in every single restaurant with good food in Florida, and even like any states, really.
Yeah, anywhere I go, like if there's no good food, I'm not going. Don't ask me to go. Don't.
Hey man, that's pretty dope. I respect that. You know, it's like when I see you, you're always having fun doing what you do best, which is real estate, and you will have a good time with your family as well. I'll be seeing some short clip with you, your wife, and kind of having fun, and so it's a pretty good outlook in the community. So the next question we have for you, man, when did you start in business? Tell us the thought process and what was the inspiration to get into real estate. Like, let's dive into that a little bit longer.
All right, so I got into business when I was young. My dad is an entrepreneur all his life. My uncle, I've been around entrepreneurs all my life. I didn't know what an entrepreneur was. I think it's when I came here, I understood what an entrepreneur was, but then I really didn't understand it. I really grasped what an entrepreneur was until like 6 years ago, maybe like 4 or 5, to be honest with you. I just call myself, I just took care of business. And then there's different dimensions in business. So like a lot of people they call themselves an entrepreneur, but they're just a worker in their business. They don't employ anybody. So you're just self-employed. So don't call yourself an entrepreneur. You're self-employed. You employ yourself to do work. So there's an indirect correlation. People always assume that if you're an entrepreneur, but just to kind of give you guys that, I was a kid in middle school selling candy. I used to go to a dollar store. I used to buy those 10 packs of those little fun size candies. They were like $1. I used to, we call those, bust those things down, wrap that thing up, and then be like, yo, and then repackage it and sell it. But let me not use it. But yeah, what I did, I ripped it up. It was 10 in there. I was selling for $0.25. And back then in school, every kid had $0.25 or $1. So man, I would probably sell like 25 packs of those things throughout the day. And then I got smart. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm doing 25 on my own, how do I make this bigger? So I hired 2 other kids. and cut them in. So I was giving them all the stuff. I almost got expelled, man. Like I almost got expelled for doing this.
Really?
Literally, I almost got expelled because I was selling. Like kids would leave the classroom to go meet me in the bathroom just to buy candy and then go back to the classroom, and I would skip class to sell candy. And I was like, "Yo,
hey, that's pretty dope."
Good. Bro, I was making like $50 to $100. Can you imagine you're like in the 7th grade, 6th grade, you're making $50 to $100 a day?
Bro.
So that's crazy. Some days I made like 50.
Yeah,
my biggest day was like $100. Like $100. $100 I made in one day. I was like, yo, that's crazy. I was a young kid. I was like, that's crazy. And then they cut it off. I remember this one guy who cut it off at Robbinsville Middle School. His name was Mr. Akins. He caught me. Cut my business down, man. He messed my money up, man. And I was like, yo, he messed me up. I had a good business going, man. Like everybody's making money. Yo, we was booming. Like I used to go to dollar store. I used to buy all the candy. It's like, yo, what are you doing? They told you not to resell it. I still resold it, but I always had that in me. So I did that. Then I did a whole bunch of other things. I had cell phone business for a number of years. Some business it did its thing. I supported the family for a good number of time. Did a couple of things, and then the company started shifting things where I wasn't as profitable. And then again, I didn't like it anymore, so I kind of got out of it. I trained some people along the way, taught them what I was doing, what I knew, passed it on to them, and they just took off with it. And then during that, I got into real estate. So real estate was like, for me, real estate's like gold. I stumbled into real estate, although my dad does real estate. But my dad did real estate like a Haitian. Like he just buy something, flip it, and then do it. He never had really like, he had structure, but he had full structure. Like he was organized to a sense, but the way he did it, I liked it. But there was some things that I figured I could tweak in it. And he did it in Haiti. So that was completely different. You know, Haiti is like a barter system. But then again, I learned that. I watched him. I've been on a construction site like for a good good portion of my life. I have pictures when I was in Haiti, when I was on a construction site when they was doing work. I have pictures of that to this day. So I kind of been around real estate. My main exposure, I think I forgot about it. But as I start making a little bit of money here, I started investing in like my 20s, 22, 20. Started investing. And I started investing. I was like, all right, cool. I gave somebody some money. And they brought me the money back with interest in like less than 6 months. I was like 4 months. I was like, yo, I get my money back to me so fast. They was like, oh, I was strapped up. My money was tied up. My money was strapped. I couldn't like really do anything. You know, the 20,000 you gave me helped me a lot to close this deal. And it was like, I'm gonna give you 5,000 on 20,000. I was like, huh? I was like, what? I was like, I don't gotta do nothing, right? He's like, nah, man, money came back so fast. I was like, yo, I'm getting in real estate. And then from there, I just plunged in. Like, you know, you go in the pool, just plunged in. And then I started immersing myself into it, started going to learn from people. I learned from my former broker under real estate, from Sam Abraham. Learned from him, learned from his cousin. I learned from Jermaine, his cousin. I learned from him. I learned from two other mentors that I have, a guy named Gene, just like me, Haitian. And then I learned from another guy. He kind of like, everyone's been kind of teaching me, you know, like I've always been the person like, I want to learn. So I've always surrounded myself with people I just want to learn. And they just, you know, it kind of helped me out. And then I just kind of like, it grew slow, but then it, like a couple of years, it just blew up. Like it blew up. And I was like, all right, cool. I see I can make a great living off of this. So I just kept doing it.
Cool, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really dope. So it's already been in you since you was a
I
jet, really. Like, yeah, it's in you. You hustling at Robbinswood Middle School. That's funny.
Yeah. I promise you.
That's crazy.
Akins messed me up.
They cut you off. It wasn't like you were selling weed or any dope or anything. Like, come on,
I was
selling candy. You selling candy.
Because if you're watching this, I turned out good, but still, man, you messed up my money.
For real. Now imagine $100 a day, 50 to 100 a day. You almost clearing 300 to 500 a week. Like that's crazy. As a middle school,
schooler, bro.
Like, I was paying my team $100. If we did great that week, I paid them $150. I was taking home $200 a week. I was making $800 to $1,000 a month in middle school.
Wow,
bro.
You could have had all of the, man. Look at here, man. Like,
you see, to me, bro, like before you go to the next question, Junior, to me, it's like, okay, my head is just wrapping around it. Shouldn't they be like, let's just say something like that, like happened, you was young. To me, it's like that should be a sign. It's like, you know what? This student right here, we need to connect this student with, like, you know, what can help him excel that, you know, ability and capacity to run business. Because I mean, not only you doing it for yourself, but like, hey, let me put a couple people into place.
Right.
That's literally like you in 7th grade, but people who have a successful business that's way older than you probably don't even have that mindset. So shouldn't they be like, you know, some kind of structure that say, you know what, whenever a kid show that they can be the next, you know, Bezos, who just like grew up a business, we're gonna connect them with XYZ. But nah, they got you in trouble. It's like, hey, stay in your lane. Yeah, hey, man, listen, man, I don't want to get started, but that's kind of crazy.
Man, I loved it, man. Look, I loved it. I used to buy, like, I didn't want to eat lunch food. Like, my motivation from an early age was always to eat good. I'm not even gonna lie. I wanted to be. I was a kid buying a Papa John's pizza with the Doritos with the Fruitopia in middle school, and I was buying it for all my friends. Like, I was pulling up, like, yo, I want the Papa John's pizza, I want that, and then they started having it with the crust. I was eating 2 of those a day, Doritos, Fruitopia. I used to buy the whole thing on my table. A lot of my friends remember it's like, yo, why you always? So I was like, that was one of my motivations growing up. I was like, yo, I gotta eat good. I gotta eat good.
Right.
So that was one
For
of the
sure.
motivations for that too, though.
That's dope. That's dope though. Like you putting everybody on. So you was really an entrepreneur, a boss, what they technically call a boss, because you're employing somebody else at an early age. You know what I'm saying?
Middle school.
Yeah, like most people claim, boss status, all of this, but they don't have anybody on the payroll. You learned it early.
Yes. Yeah.
You learned it early. For sure.
I did. It's crazy. Just saying this with y'all is like, yo, I've really been doing this for a long time.
That's
yeah.
wild. Like,
So, like, I didn't. Sometimes you talk and like, yo, I've really been doing this for a long time. Yeah, I've really been doing a lot of stuff for a long time, man. Trying to really figure out this whole entrepreneurship or self-employment status. But yeah,
for sure. So like, okay, so you got into business early age, then you jumped into real estate. I see you do taxes as well, so it's kind of like vertically integrated. You got pretty much all in house, a full circle, like real estate full circle. But you also taking care of people on the taxes on that end as well. So you got a drop coming early in the year of money coming in, and then you got people closing. You can probably get your tax people houses or something. You know how much. Like how did that work, man? How did you do that?
See, I didn't mention it. You brought it up. You saw I mentioned real estate full circle. You want to bring the tax stuff in, but whatever. So I do. I do have a tax business. I have a tax business along with tax software. So I'm a distributor for the software for taxes. Also, I have a tax preparation business in that. So that really just came into fruition when I was like, oh, this is lucrative business. So I kind of got into it, but it really ties in because if you don't do your taxes the right way, it's kind of hard for you to buy a home.
Yep.
So I know a lot of entrepreneurs, they say they make money, but then I look at their paperwork. I was like, where's the money?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, oh, I'm like, well, you can't really buy anything if you don't really have any paperwork. It just doesn't work that way. It does now. You can do bank statement loans. You can do a whole bunch of other stuff too. But yeah, so that helps people kind of get into the business. I talk about it unless people ask me about it. It's more like word of mouth, but that's grown significantly too as well. We're actually shaking the industry. We're really shaking the industry. We're allowing people that work alongside of us to make money. Most of our earners make $40,000, $50,000. We have two top earners that earn $100,000 with us in that company. We have a lot of affiliates, those who are with other companies that just weren't doing so well. We just kind of took underneath our wings, kind of gave them the blueprint that we have, and see if they can apply it and do better for themselves. And I just kind of growing. But we have affiliates in Louisiana, Tampa area. We have North Carolina too. No, we didn't have that one. But we have affiliates in a whole bunch of other states too. But yeah, that's part of the business, man. So if you guys looking to get that done, I'll drop a little shameless plug. Just let me know. We'll make sure our team gets to you and take care of you for that. We do business taxes and personal taxes, so people can get with us. We'll get them serviced.
Pretty cool. And me having a real estate background too, so it's 100% correct. If your taxes ain't get done the right way, you're gonna get messed up. I remember when I first started into real estate, maybe like a couple years in, and this lady, she was in the medical field but getting 1099. Now she make great money, close to 100,000. I think it was like 90-something thousand dollars for the year. Wow. But yet, when that loan officer pulled the taxes, bro, only claim about $16,000.
She probably had a lot of expenses. A lot of
deduction.
Now all her expenses.
That's all it was. But that's just to piggyback on what you said. Even though you can make a lot of money, if you do claim all these expenses, which a lot of time is the correct expense you claim, now your income is not 100,000 anymore; it's 16,000.
Well,
so it's gonna affect you when you. Go ahead.
Well, sorry. Add to that, there are other expenses. So their debt to income ratio. So if you make 60,000 and currently your mortgage, let's say you have a car payment, right? Your car payment is 800. Let's say you have insurance. Let's say you had $1,000. So with car payment and insurance, most car payments, the average car payment now is like $500-600, but we're gonna round up to $1,000. So let's say you made 60,000, and all that 60,000, 12,000 of that, because if you do 12 times 1,000 is 12,000. So you take that off. So once you reduce that, you guys are at 48,000.
Yep.
So you have 48,000. So you got to factor in your living expenses if you have credit card loans and all that stuff. So when you start really bringing that down, you're probably at 40,000. How much house can you buy at $40,000?
That's pretty much what the numbers get down to, really.
Yeah. So when you start thinking about that, you can't. You make $40,000 a year. In this market right now, I don't know what you buy. You have to move like to Winter Haven to buy a house.
Probably further than that.
Well, Winter Haven, you get a house for like 250, 280.
Yeah, could be. But yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. I was talking to somebody. They was trying to buy a house, and I think they qualify for like not even 250, and they still talking about staying in Orlando. I said, okay. I
wish I had my cigar. I should be smoking a cigar.
For real, man.
What we doing right now? You can't do that with 250. So this is not to poke fun or make fun of anybody if they're in that situation. 250 cannot get you anything in Orlando besides something that you would not like. Something you would not like, I would not advise you to buy. Because what happens is a lot of people are, so let me give you guys the real true game. A lot of people are just settling in this market. What they're doing is they'll come in the market, they'll assess the market. This is where they're at. This is what they qualify for. And where they're at currently is what they can buy. So when they look at Orlando holistically, they can only buy a condo or townhouse. So what happens when you're condo and townhouse? When your association is like $400 to $500 a month, that decreases your DTI, how much you could buy. So when you factor that in your taxes, it decreases your purchase power, what you can actually buy because your income doesn't match. So if you go for single family, like there's a lot of homes people are buying like in Pine Hills. Not saying anything bad. I grew up in Pine Hills, so before anybody judge me. However, certain homes in Pine Hills should not cost $300,000. Somebody might get mad, might say, "Oh, yeah, that's cool." If we're gradually getting there, yes. But right now, this economy that we're in, it's almost like the government held it together. They put the low interest rates to hold it so we don't get into anything like a forced recession. So you got to think about that. So now they pull the plug. Now we're at 4%. Now we're at 4 to 5% interest rate. So now the interest rate is back where it's supposed to be. People thought that the 3 or 2% interest rate was normal. That is not normal. Like go back and check history. That's not even normal. Normal is 5, 6, 8%. 4 is lucky. So when you start thinking about those communities where all these interest rates are high, if anything happens, most people who buy homes within those communities or in those areas, they're living almost paycheck to paycheck. So if they miss two months of work, they almost like they toast. Fortunate for them, if they own it, it takes a little time to foreclose, but that time only allows you to catch up. And what happens if that person can't catch up? They start foreclosing, and it's a repetitive cycle. That's why I say when you're in those cycles and you're in that lower income tier and you don't work your way up to get to the middle a little bit further up, you stay in that cycle, and that's how real estate cycles. It cycles. And when it cycles, you get caught because people are buying homes they're not supposed to buy. I'd rather you rent than be house poor.
Makes sense. That's facts right there.
What you mean by house poor, though?
Okay, house poor is you can't go on vacation. This reality, you can't go on vacation. So if your quality of life changes because you bought a house, rent. So if you're going on vacation when you're renting a house, and when you buy a house, you can't go on vacation, that was a bad move. So people will be like, "Oh, that's okay." Well, your quality of life is important. Yes, if you're gonna make a sacrifice, you do it. But how long can you make a sacrifice and not go on vacation? Unless you one of my old Haitian mom and get her hair done. How long can this generation make a sacrifice, not go on vacation with the access of social media? All their friends are going to brunch parties, day parties.
Right.
How long can you make that sacrifice while making that payment?
Right.
How long?
It's a good way to look at
2-3
it.
years?
Yeah. Really
Something's going to get something's not going to pay for itself.
Right.
So what happens? I mean, if you're going to forego those luxuries and those, You only live once. You know what I'm saying? You know, FOMO, fear of missing out. Every day we lit. If you in that mindset, every day you're gonna be broke because you can't sustain a lifestyle.
For sure.
Yes, there's appreciation. Yes, there's benefits when you own a house. Yes, that's cool. But if you can't maintain your quality of life to gain that, you can't. So your kids want to go to on vacation. You can't take on vacation. Miami is not a vacation. I'm sorry to tell you that. Miami is not a vacation. You can't take your kids to the beach in Miami and Tampa every time, bro. Your kids got to go to Mexico at some point. Your kids got to go to something different. Like, take your kids somewhere else. Take them out the country. Like, I mean, yeah, that's cool. That's cool, but I'm big on exposure. Exposure kids where if you don't expose them, somebody else will expose them. And if the wrong person exposes them, they'll manipulate them.
That's facts, bro. Ooh. And that's I mean, that may not sit right with some people listening. That's because it's the truth.
Yeah,
you know, it's the truth.
I care less, but if you don't cut my bills, I don't care what you tell me. If you pay my bills and pay my kids' bills, doesn't matter. Our culture has our kids are not very diversified or culturally sound. Like, your kids have to be aware of other cultures. Your kids have to be exposed to other cultures. Your kids have to be exposed to other countries. Like, if you don't, like, I mean, that's a whole different. Let's go back to the real estate.
No, for real, man. I'm glad you actually opened that little sector here, and it's 100% fact. You know, but to go back on track, speaking on your real estate career, what was your first deal look like, man? Do you remember? Like, was it a disaster? Was it a good one? Like, how was that first deal for you?
My first deal was when I gave the guy 20,000. He brought back 25. So that was actually the first deal. If we go back, really looking at it, so that was the first deal, and that deal made sense. And since then, I've kind of like I've loaned money for deals. I've invested in other people's deals, and then I bought my own property. My first flip. Well, you know, it was a good flip. I made a little bit of money, but that little bit of money wasn't compared to my other properties. I made some money, but the average flip you're going to make anywhere between, back then you're making like 40, 50, 60,000. Now you're going to make like 20, 30, 50 if you get lucky. If you hit a home run, maybe 80. But that deal was what was an eye-opener. Like, well, so if I could make $25,000 in 3 months with one, if I do it twice, I make 50 in 3 months. And if I do it another 3 months, I make another 100,000. I was like, so I can make $200,000 doing this. Well, okay, makes sense. And then I started just adding stuff to it. I was like, okay, well, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. But I just saw the possibility. There's an infinite amount of money you can earn in real estate. There's no cap in real estate. Your earning potential, there's no cap. It's to the ceiling. If you want to make $100 million a year, you can. It's gonna take a lot of money, a lot of resources. But like, there's guys in my circle who make $100,000 in one day. I was like, you make $100,000 in one day? I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah. Every day I make $100,000. I was like, wow, okay. But you know, that's just what it is. For them, that's great. For them, they're like, yo, man, he's like, I can't live if I don't make $6 million a year. I was like, what? I was like, okay.
Straight up.
But
everybody, for sure. Everybody has, everybody has their goals and what they want to be, where they want to feel comfortable at. So $6 million a year, hey, that's where they feel like they need to be.
I agree with him. I love his lifestyle. His lifestyle is beautiful.
I'm sure it is. And kind of tying into that, real estate, there's so many outlets. So real estate with your company, Real Estate Full Circle, like, so how can somebody benefit from your company or Real Estate Full Circle? How could like somebody who was trying to get in real estate or someone who, wanted to go buy a house or purchase an investment property, what is Real Estate Full Circle and how does that help them?
So how we can help them. So if they're looking to buy a house for themselves, particularly, we help groom. Like, we take you, see where you're at, give you the information to kind of make the package look better. So when you're going to go buy real estate, you're a package. People are like, oh, I'm not. You are. Your credit's a package. Your finance is a package. How the realtor you use is part of that package, and your loan officer is part of that package. So when you put that thing together, you making a good army to go fight for you and represent you out on the open market, because that package is what's going to make it easier for someone to say, I want to sell my house to you because you're packaged correctly. A lot of people are not packaged correctly. So, for instance, in this market, in order for you to really qualify for a home, you got to really have a $350,000 to $400,000 loan. So to buy where you kind of really want to buy. So if you have that and you've been vetted by the lender, thoroughly vetted, and we've seen the deposit into your account that you have the deposit you say you're gonna do, not the one that you think you're gonna get in 6 months, but you ain't get it yet, but the verifiable funds, the lender now can put a good stamp saying, hey, this file's going to close. Because what it does is when you're packaged right, everyone really works for you. When you're not packaged right, people work for you like half-ass. I don't know if I can say that on here. That's how they work for you. When they work for you in the sense when you're packaged right, it makes them go to bat because they know that if they close that deal, they're going to get compensated. So how we can help you is make sure that that's right. We help you with the navigation and you're learning. I tell people all the time. So hanging around me is like me always just throwing stuff out. And if you just catching and absorbing it, it's going to click and register at some point. It may not hit now, but it will. Because as I absorb, I also let out. So I'm doing the same thing. So if they're buying a house, their second house strategy, hey, this is what you should do with this. Only my opinion, if it makes sense for you, we lay out the numbers. They want to invest. I show him how to invest. And I know it works because I have 5 students who are close to being a millionaire.
That's pretty dope.
Net worth. I have 5 people that I know that I've helped are close to being a millionaire, net worth wise.
From investing.
Yep.
In real estate.
Yep.
Can't get any realer than that.
Yeah. Right.
Not only you know it, you teach it. Just like kind of like, the Kennedy strategy from middle school. I know it, but I teach it. Right. Now, the only thing is you're not going to get in trouble with this one because ain't no teacher going to come here and tell you can't do certain things. As a matter of fact, you're going to tell them, hey, let me show you how to get some investment properties.
Yes.
That's what's up, man. So now, I mean, some people who's outside of your field, and I know it's kind of like similar to the question Julian asked, but some people who's outside of the field, they if they want to know what a good deal look like, it's like, man, I don't know what a good deal look like when it comes to a real estate investment property, fix and flip. Like, describe a good deal for us, and if somebody does have a good deal out there, how exactly should they, process it? And of course, I would say you contact, Gene to hold your hand. But I'm just saying, what does a good deal look like?
They have to pay me to hold their hand, so I want to make sure that's clear.
There you go. It's not free.
I'll give you consultation, but I'll make sure you get it right. But so a good deal is relative to the property. So this is how, if you're going to do real estate, I want to slow this down. This is how you do real estate. You look at the property and you assess it. You say, what can this property do for me? Now I'm going to break this down for you. So you might look at a house and you don't look at all the ins and outs of the house. So let's say this house is in Dr. Phillips and it doesn't have HOA. You're going to pay a premium. You're probably going to only walk in with $20,000 of equity. It may need a little bit of rehab, meaning like paint or floors. But this house could be Airbnb. Is that not a good investment? Now, it's not a flip, and it could be a rental, but Airbnb, because it has no HOA and there's no real guidelines in that area just yet, it could be an Airbnb. You can cash flow $1,500 a month. Now, take that same property and examine it for a flip. It doesn't make sense. The numbers, you only have $20,000 in equity, and you still got to do renovations, so it doesn't make any sense. But if that same property, you can get it for you can get it reduced for an extra $80,000. Now it makes sense to flip it. Or if you can get it for that same price of $180, and you still got that $20,000 of equity in there, you can make it to a rental, and your mortgage on that is only $1,400, but you can rent it for $2,400. You make it $1,000 of cash flow. After you pay property management and you put some money up for reserves, you're really making about $700 in cash flow. That's a great deal. So each property, you have to look at the properties and say, what can this property do? It's not, you can't say every property is not for flipping, every property is not for a rental, every property is not for short-term rental. They all have their functions, and you have to assess it down to the house size, the lot size, that means the land, the backyard, all of that is a factor. So anything that has like a big backyard and it doesn't have an HOA, you're generally going to find someone who has a boat, RV, someone who has a contract in business that they want to park their stuff on there. So for me, I know, okay, well, if they had to pay $300 in storage to get that, I'm bumping up my rent $300 because now you put on your property. It saves you travel time. You don't go travel to go pick up your equipment. You can just come home early to your wife. That makes you happy. And now you can take that same property that you renting right now from me, put your equipment and go to work easy and faster. So that's a value and I'm charging more for it. So that's why I say you got to look at the property and see what can it do for you.
Right.
It's now a good time to refinance. Somebody said it's now, no, you missed that window about 3-4 months ago. Rates are like 6%. Yeah, it's not a good time to refi right now. Now, it depends on your situation where you're at, but typically no. So hopefully that answers your question, JJ. But yeah, so look at it. What can a property do for you? That's how you do analysis. Then from there, you do a real analysis of, okay, well, does it fit this pocket? Does it fit this pocket? Does it fit this pocket? Oh, it doesn't fit this one? Or can it fit this one? Because then you can buy the property to what the best utilization for the property is for you. So hopefully I broke that down so people can understand it clearly. Hopefully.
Oh yeah, no, that was well laid out, man. Very, very well laid out.
Seriously.
Yes,
You definitely laid that one out. So that's probably the package you get. That's an overview of what you get if you come work with Real Estate Full Circle.
All day long.
Like,
all day long.
Yeah.
I give perspective and analysis.
That's
people
good.
Don't put value on that, but when I tell them when you have the value and you have the results, I live mortgage free. So I'll tell you, look, you want to learn how to live mortgage free? Come holler.
Mortgage free. Oh yeah, let's talk about that. You live in mortgage free. What you mean by that? Because that probably fly over people's head. How don't you pay mortgage? So why? How don't you pay for a mortgage? What are the steps for somebody?
Explain that.
For a mortgage, man?
My tenants pay for it. That's exactly what it is.
Look at that. Tenants is paying for a mortgage. When's the last time you paid for a mortgage?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So you've been mortgage free pretty much since the 2020, maybe
2019.
19. So pre-pandemic, you've been So the whole pandemic, how was that? Did that affect your rentals and things like that? People.
So I have a system. I have a system. I put 10% of reserves, whatever rental income I get, outside of putting money away for repairs. So every time let's say I made $800, I always put $80 away. So I built up an escrow account, not an escrow, but I built up a little nest egg that I had roughly around like 8,000 in there. So when people don't pay, I just use that money to pay for it. It didn't affect my lifestyle. I just use that money from that account to pay it.
Smart, extremely smart,
for real.
So on a rental. So do you have a specific strategy? So say like, okay, I do a new build here, I do a fix and flip here, or I buy a rental. Do you have a specific strategy, or are you doing multiple ones at the same time? How do you go about it?
So let me answer this carefully so I don't get people confused. I think where you're at in life dictates the strategy of how you get into real estate. So let me give you an example. So if you're working, right, 9 to 5, you can't really you don't have that much disposable time. Right. So you can't really flip a property, but you can rent a property because it don't require that much of your disposable time. You could do an Airbnb that don't require too much of your disposable time because you got property management for that. You could do a new development, but you have to do it with someone that's kind of like in the field, kind of navigate, help you with that. But could you do a flip? You could. I'm not saying you can't. But what happened when that pipe bursts and you're at work? Who you calling? What happens if the city come put a stop work order on your door? You had to work 3 days back to back. You didn't realize it till later, and you got a fine. So I think where you're at and what your comfortability level is, that dictates your investment. Because if you're scary, you're not going to invest. You're not going to flip a house. You're going to buy a rental. Like you're gonna be like, oh, this is too risky. I'd rather buy a rental property. I collect $300 a month.
Right.
That's cool. Not knowing that you flip the property, you make $30,000. You want to make that in 1 year rental. It probably take you 3 years of rental money to even get that. To be honest, but that's how you kind of get into it. Figure out where you're at. That's why I say it's always good to have a consultation with anyone. You don't have to do it with me. I think anyone that you you think is good in real estate, you see facts, you see results. Talk to them. Say, hey, where do you think I should go in? Because sometimes you think one way is good for you, and then you really look at it, it's like, oh, this ain't what it's cut out to be. I don't want to do it. I know people who try to flip houses. They second one they gave up. They're like, nah, I can't do this. They can't deal with contractors. They can't deal with people not showing up on time. They can't deal with the calls from Home Depot to pay this. They can't deal with nobody not showing up with their materials. They can't deal with the contractor taking a smoke break. They take 2 hours talking to his wife, and then he went to go get a snack, and then he on the phone while he's working. Like, they can't deal with that.
Yeah.
They can't. So they're like, nah, I ain't doing it.
Yeah, that's honestly, that's something a lot of people don't really talk about in real estate, the contractors and dealing with the contractors. I heard that's one of the most toughest aspects of the fix and flip, game.
They make or break you, bro.
Yeah.
Make or break. Bro, I got one right now. I got 100-some thousand sitting for like a whole year. Cash. I haven't seen that. Do you know how much opportunity cost I've lost with that money in a whole year because of a contractor? And then I got a stop work order on the house right now. So I'm going to spend double the money to get it right. I can't even flip this house no more. This house has to be a rental.
Wow.
Shoot. Tell us, how did he get into that, man? Tell us the backstory on that. Tell us the real deal on that one, man. Because people need to know the real deal. I would love to hear that, man.
So I bought this house for the business partner of mine, right? And we bought together. So we split everything down the middle. Supposed to get in and out of this house. So because I'm busy, I didn't have that much time to kind of put to the house. So we hired someone that we knew as a project manager and contractor to handle some of the work. So it was during tax season, so I'm busy. So that's not an excuse. Hindsight is an excuse, but let me give you a real story. So we hired them. They got delayed. They weren't doing things on time, not meeting deadlines, taking forever. 3 months passed by. I still didn't have one towel laid in the house.
Dang.
Yo, I got a whole video on YouTube. Like, I promise you. And then on top of that, somebody broke into the house and was living in the house.
Oh, shoot.
So not meeting deadlines. His guy supposedly caught COVID. I was like, bro. And then he never went to go check on the house. So all this time thinking he's checking on the house, he never really checked on the house. He just told the guys to go do work. No management. Where there's construction, there must be management. Simple. Mm-hmm. That's a tip. Wherever there's construction, there must be management. If you're not managing it, somebody else is managing it. And if they ain't managing how you want to, it's a problem. So, because I was busy on other projects, honestly, I was making money on other stuff. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll get to it. But now I need that money right now, and I can't get it out. I have to laugh because I'm so pissed. If I don't laugh, I get upset. Mm-hmm. So I have to laugh because I'm like, and every day I get so frustrated. I get really frustrated. I'm looking like, oh, I got 150,000 just sitting. Can't do nothing with it. Just sit. And I got to go spend more money to get my money back out to cash out refi because we bought it cash. That's another lesson. I ain't buying no more things cash. I'm financing everything from now on. So I was like, I'm done with that one. I'm done. That was my lesson on that. I was like, yo, this is crazy. But that contract messed it up. He tried to I'm going to do this, like making promises, never delivering. And we gave this person a shot. I should have known. Like, my gut told me, but I was like, I ain't listening to my gut. Bottom line, I listen to my gut, and I got problems with it now. So I'll hopefully pull that money out, cash out refi, and then pull that money to one of my new development projects because I have 4 houses going up right now, 4 of 10. We're doing 4 right now to be built. So that money would be very useful to put that money towards that. But, contract that messed me up on that deal. There's no money being made. It's going to have to be a rental. I had to pivot.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's a
but
big
you gotta
part of
know
the
what
game.
you're doing.
Mm-hmm. That's a big part of the game.
Part of the game.
Pivoting.
It's all on YouTube. Watch the whole video. I have a whole series on it.
Look at that. Y'all go check it out. Real Estate Full Circle on YouTube. You go see all of the ins and outs. You'll go see Gene at his properties. He gives you pretty much everything you need to see about real estate if you want to fix and flip. Like he takes you to the properties. You can go see every single thing, like the new builds. You can see it from, you know, when they're first starting the building and everything. Like he even, you know, goes to Home Depot. He takes you through the entire process. It's crazy.
I do.
But it's like, you know, I at one point I thought I was like, yeah, I want to get in fix and flip. And I seen him like, yeah, I don't know about all that.
Yo,
like dealing
honestly,
with that, I'm like, yeah.
Bro, if I was people, if I had to go back, there's a lot of deals I should never flip. I'm being honest. I should have just took the house, gave it to another investor, and made $10,000-$12,000.
Wow.
Or made $20,000. Yeah, because okay, I had another deal. It took me 6 months to renovate it. 6 months. 6 months between permits. 6 months, and it took me 8 months to get out of it. That's almost like that's 3/4 of the year.
Right.
So I was like, yo, that's the and the problem is, so here's what happened. If you don't get out of a flip quick, you get discouraged every time you go see it. You're like, oh, this property again. Oh, this property again. And then you got to take yourself out of that mental state and be like, yo, you got money, you got to get the money out. That's what happened. I did the property I was talking about. I got the money stuck into it. I was like, and you have to change your mental focus to change quickly, daily. You gotta be like, yo. That's why sometimes some people's phone call, I don't answer them because I gotta stay focused. I'm like, yo, I can't answer your call right now. I know you're gonna shift my day. I just don't answer it. But I should have just took that property, passed it on to another investor, make $20,000, essentially wholesaling it. Or I just put some lipstick on it, made it livable, and just sell it. I'm over here doing bathroom, kitchen, whole, like, yo. You know, that's a rookie mistake. I was like, I don't do that. Like, I look at probably, like, all right, I can do this, mechanicals work. All right, put that on there. All right, it's good. Let me go ahead and make $40,000 in 2 months and go get my next project, which I'm so excited about. I got new content about. People loving it because they see I'm moving and shaking. I got a new house. Yo, and it's a new experience, new challenges. Ain't the same old everything every day and day. So I do like moving in and out. The goal is to get in and out. Once you pass 6 months until flip, you're distressed. You're like, oh, this house. You start doing it. Sometimes I don't even go to the house. I'm like, yo, I'm not going, and I don't go for a whole week because I'm so like distraught. I'm like, I'm not. I don't like it. I'm mad. So I got to get myself back into a real state of mind to get back into it.
Wow.
So honestly, hopefully that helps somebody. But sometimes it's not good to flip it. Sometimes you find somebody else who wants to flip it, who's eager, who loves it. No, and don't get me wrong, I love flipping houses. Like, I love it. But sometimes you don't have to flip a house.
Right.
That's jam.
I think that was a gym.
Yeah,
that was major.
For real.
You don't get that. You don't get that everywhere. And you give the honest truth. Like most people, most these gurus or whatever you want to call them, they'll tell you what works for them in the strategy. Oh, this is best. This is best. This is best. You're giving people, okay, what works best for you in your situation where you are. That's key. Like,
it's not a one truth
get any
fit all.
better than that.
It doesn't. You have to understand the reason why you invest is for freedom.
Right.
If you're investing to be trapped, you'll be trapped. You could catch me any given day after 4 or 5 o'clock. I'm with my kids, bro. Sit. I'm home with my kids. I'm not working major. Past that. Like, I'm not. I've put a team together. If I have to work past that, I will. But if I don't, I pull up my phone, which I can FaceTime. Hey, bro, you at the house? FaceTime me. All right. You did this? All right, cool. Let me see that. Zoom in. All right, good. All right, go over there because I remember when I went there last week, I saw somebody and like, okay, we good? All right, bye. I'm done. Because what's important to me is I have to make money to be home. I'm not making money to be gone. Like people probably let that go over their head. I have to make money to be home, not make money to be gone.
Yeah,
it's probably over a lot of people's head.
I like
it. Like, bro, like when I come home, my little daughter run up to me, "Hey, daddy," nigga, that make me melt.
Sound like James.
I love it.
Hey, that's my favorite part of the day, bro.
I love it. Then my daughter come down, "Hey, father." I'm like, "Hey, daughter." And then my son has a little, thing. Dad.
Yeah.
Each of them are different.
So we got a question here. So what criteria determines if the property is worth fix and flip versus just passing it up to an investor?
Okay, so if the margin is big, so if the margin is, let's say you get the property, let me give you context. Property is worth 100. The property you're gonna get it for 100,000. You can sell it for 200,000 after you fix it. So there's $100,000 gap. So if the repairs are about 30, there's still 70,000 on the plate. So that's 130. So if let's say that investor can borrow the money, pay interest, pay holding costs, he's at 150. With all that said, there's still $50,000 in. So 100,000, 30,000 rehab, 30,000, 20,000 for the holding and the borrowing of the money. So you're all in for 150. That will be for the investor. So you got 50,000 of profit left. Now for you, do you want to make 50,000 and whatever time span you think you can take to renovate the house? Or would you say, I'm gonna make 15,000 and let the other investor make the 35? And then you're done, you're going back to your life. Now the problem with that is if you don't make money in real estate and don't reinvest it, you're living check to check. You're chasing deal to deal. So sometimes you got to make that 50,000, take that 50,000, and then put it into a rental property. And as you're doing that, if you find another deal that meets the same criteria where there's enough money to pass on to somebody else, make that quick 15. Then you hold on to that. Now you just made 65,000. If you catch where I'm going. Some deals you pass, some deals you keep because you got to use that money to invest in other long-term plays, which is what I mean. Like I don't have a mortgage, so I will make money and then turn around and put that money in another rental. So it keeps going and going and going. There's no point of doing that. I love living mortgage free. You know, when you don't have a mortgage, bro, you go out to eat, spend $200. It don't matter to you. Spend $100, it don't matter to you. Like I don't like a limit when I go out to eat. Whatever I want to eat it. So it sounds like crazy, but it's just what I like to do. I like going out to do that. Now I do have restrictions though. I'm not about to go out and spend $1,000 on a damn meal. But if I wanted to take my whole family out and spend $1,000, I can.
You have the option. You have the flexibility to do so.
Yes, sir.
That's what's up. And we have. I don't want to be too biased, but I think there's a beautiful young lady. I think that's probably my favorite guest. Yeah, / my wife. Say thank you for the honesty and not just talking about the beauty of the business, but the ugly side. People want to hear the ugly. People want to hear the downfall, and not to scare them, but to understand what they're what they're getting themselves into. So this conversation is very important for so many people. But we have to jump to the next question. I know, Julian, I think you got the next question.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So I know you did drop a clip about life insurance, buying a policy whenever you buy a rental property. Can you kind of elaborate on that and the strategy that you use, how you use life insurance with real estate, since we're talking about life insurance here.
So let me give you guys where I got this from, right? So I'm sitting at Corona's on Sand Lake. Like maybe
that's the spot right there.
12 months ago or like a couple months ago. And I'm just sitting here talking to this old head, he's like, I'm just telling him about what I'm doing. He's like, do you have a life insurance policy for each house? And he's like, I was like, why would I need a life insurance policy? I was like, if somebody else is paying the rent and they're paying my mortgage down, why do I need life insurance? He's like, if you die and they don't pay rent, you don't want your kids to deal with that. I was like, I was lost. I was dumbfounded. I was like, what? I was like, what the heck are you talking about? So he's like, you need to, every house you buy, have a life insurance policy for each house for the equivalent of the mortgage payoff. He was like, if you don't, what happens is when you die, that whole life policy you have, it will absorb all of that because your kids are not going to let the houses just go. Think about it. If I owe $200,000 on a house right now in this market that's worth $400,000, I'm going to pay that $200,000 off and then sell the house or pay it and keep the house. So he was like, if you don't do that, it eats into your other policies. I was like, a light bulb went off.
Dang, that
sounds like
It's so
I was
true.
like,
Bro.
Yo,
I was like, so
I
how
didn't
many
think about that.
policies do you have? He's like, man, I have a multiple. He's like, if I die today, my kids are multi-millionaires, and he'll pass on to 3 generations. He said 3 generations. 3. Let me get the camera. 3.
Sheesh.
3 generations. And I'm sitting here thinking about 1 generation.
Yeah,
And I was like, yo. So I went, I was like, all right, find a policy. Policy was like 180,000. That one was like $18. In fact, I could pull them up. I like to show receipts. I got one. Where is this one? I got one for 250. I have 4 of them right now. I got one for $500,000. I got one for 200,000. I got another one for 180. And they're cheap. I'm pulling my email. And they're cheap. When I tell you they're cheap, one is $18, one is $25, one is $34, and I roll that into the rents. So let's say for example, that property, like my rent is $1,200. I just take it out. I might say, hey, I want $1,250 for this rent to cover that life insurance policy. That's it.
wow, you just literally just cash flow, like use your cash flow to pay for that policy. Wow, that's
added into the expenses. That's smart.
That's smart.
Yeah,
You pay for itself.
Uh-huh.
You literally pay for itself. That's dope, man.
Definitely.
And so many people will let that literally fly over their head because they investors.
Bro.
I mean, hopefully you're an investor out there. You really taking this into consideration. Not consideration, just do it.
It is.
Because you actually out there building your portfolio, building your cash flow. You're getting all this stuff done, but something happened to you. Then what happened? Your family have to liquidate everything. That's crazy.
You don't want them to have to do that, man.
You don't want that. You definitely don't want that.
Like look. I got one right here. I'll show it to you. This one is for 250,000, 30 years. It's like $52.
$52. Look at this.
Yeah, I got another
Very
one
cheap.
too. I got another one. Yo, I just be buying them, bro. Yo, think about it, right? If I die tomorrow, I don't want my kids. If my kids say they want to deal with real estate, what are they gonna do? They're gonna sell it.
Absolutely.
Or mismanage it.
Yep.
It's better for them to mismanage a property that's already paid for, better than them mismanage a property that has a debt on it. Because if they mismanage it, if they get the lowest of rents, who cares? It's paid for cash. They don't have no mortgage on it. All they have to pay property taxes. If they want to move into the house, they fall on hard times, they can move into the house.
100%. And that's thinking generations ahead, not just today.
Got to. I have 2 more. I keep them, man. I keep them. And then what you do is you make the beneficiary like certain trusts that you own, and that trust maybe owns that property, and it pays it goes to that, and they inherit the property. But let me not get ahead of myself. Y'all hire an attorney for that. It's complicated.
Yeah.
It's complicated. But
that's some real gems right there, man. Don't let that pass over your head. But I mean, out of curiosity, I know you've been in the field for a while, and you have investment properties. You have a lot of people on your team. But what would be the main focus area? Would you say? Do you have something you prefer that you main focus on, or it depends on the deal and then you just work on it? How does that look like?
I have no preference. As long as it's dollars, I'm good.
That's it. Because whether you're gonna do a rental with it, or flip it, or pass it over to another investor,
whatever makes sense.
Whatever makes sense.
That makes sense.
That makes sense, man.
What's the maximum amount of like rental properties? So I know you got to manage it. How do you manage like your rental properties? What's a good amount of rental properties that you say that you feel like you will feel comfortable in your real estate career to have? What's your goal?
3,000.
3,000 properties total? Okay. How far away are you from it?
I'm a long distance away from it. Okay. But by next year I won't. By next year I'll probably have next year my goal next year is to have 300 units.
300 units
by next year.
And are you investing where? All over?
Everywhere. Georgia, Alabama. I'm pretty soon going to jump into Texas too. So,
all right.
But just so people can know, so if you don't think I'm like super rich, I'm like loaded. I'm gonna do it by way of investing in multifamily.
Right.
So I'm gonna invest in syndications and all that other stuff. So you can have a percentage of that. Be like, well, but I do have a small number of doors I currently own. I just ain't disclosing it.
I feel you.
Nah, for
sure,
real.
for sure.
But I will have a few multifamily. So I went to a few seminars, been getting all my stuff together, all the paperwork. But I will by next year. Mark my words. I'll show you. Look, I bought 200 doors. I'll post it. I'll post everything anyway.
For sure.
So, I mean, as I was looking at some of these questions, Jeans, and we already over time, and I'm skipping because we had so many questions for you, and we're probably not gonna be able to get into all of them. But the only what I'm thinking is the way you elaborate on each of them, each sector. I think you bring so much value. Where some of the question we have on the list, you already answer them. Right. So I was going through the question like, oh man, he answered that. So. Let's just talk on the Orlando area, right? We're gonna jump to one of the last question.
Okay.
So, where is going to be the best in Orlando to invest? Since this is the Orlando area pretty well.
Emerging markets are going to be Mascot, which is closer to Groveland. Groveland is still emerging. Groveland, Mascot, Sorrento, Mount Dora, and also Winter Haven. Winter Haven. I like Winter Haven. I just got to see where it's going. But Lakeland, that's that thing right there coming up.
Yeah,
Lakeland coming up. Lakeland is it's gonna be the next powerhouse. Lakeland is definitely a powerhouse. And then actually, to be honest with you, if anybody listening, I'll definitely go on Kissimmee. Kissimmee's great. Great.
What about in the city? Like, does the city just fully, like, would you even touch the city of Orlando? Like, say, like the Pine Hills area or downtown? Like
downtown, I would, because downtown being was being re-gentrified. So I would do downtown. Pine Hills, no. I don't have anything against Pine Hill. I just don't want those are like C-class rentals. I want only A and B class rentals. I'll flip a house in Pine Hills all day long. Right. But I don't know that you can't Airbnb in Pine Hills as of the moment. Maybe in the future you probably can. But Pine Hills are primarily rentals and primary residence. Like grandma's been living in the house for years. They still have it. But for me, no, I wouldn't necessarily want to do that. I'd rather have a better class of rental that has better appreciation and overall better management, because people are not worried about certain things happening to them if they go into that area. Just I'm not saying Pine's a bad area. I just think it just draws a crowd that sometimes tenants like, some people don't. But it's slowly changing, honestly. I think Pine Hills will probably be a lot of homeowners pretty soon. More owners than rentals.
Right. Yeah, definitely. For sure. And then one last thing I did want to ask about investing from afar. I know for like, okay, if you're getting into real estate, what is your thoughts on that? Like investing from afar. So say you can't find a deal here in Orlando and you need to find a deal like in another city or maybe another state, and it makes sense for you. Like, what do you think about that, honestly?
Only go hour reach from where your home is. Wherever your home base is for you, only go hour reach. You could drive an hour to Daytona Beach. You could drive an hour to Cocoa. You could drive an hour to Lakeland. You could drive an hour to Mount Dora, depending where you're at. You could drive an hour to Zellwood. You could drive an hour to Daytona. Or I would say that I right now, honestly, I have 5 units in Alabama and only 2 are rented. The other 3 is in disaster. Somebody messed up one of my properties. So I had to go to Alabama pretty shortly here to kind of talk back. That's
yeah. No, that's honestly like that can happen if you don't want that to happen and that be your first investment.
Bro, the whole amount of rent I collected for that on one of my units for the whole year got wiped out because I had to fix the whole unit. Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's a part of the ugly side of the business.
That's how I go.
You have
but
the hot ups.
I'm not making it seem like it's like you don't make money in real estate. I'm just saying It's some stuff that come with it. You got to be strong to be able to deal with that. Like you probably lose your marbles. Somebody dares. I was like, yeah, it's a rental property. It's insurance, whatever. But it's part of the business.
Man,
it's part of the game.
It's part of the game, man. And we thank you for dropping all this knowledge on us today. And you know, I'm going to. This is one question I typically ask my our guest. Say someone is watching this right now, man, and they have no clue, you know, how to start. Be calling you and join the team. What are some of the thought process they should really be going through right now to see or to understand if this is really for them or not? What you know, in like maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes, you know, let us know what that look like.
I'll make it quick. If you're trying to get into real estate, follow whoever you're trying to seek information from. Follow them first. I don't want anyone coming out to me until they follow me, because how do you know what I'm doing is true? So a lot of people are faking it. I'm not saying don't fake it, but and if they're really trying to get into it, do their own research. If you come to me, you need to do your own research before you come to me. I need to validate your research, or you need to, or vice versa. Or you're like, okay, well, I learned this. Okay, that makes sense. Or I'm helping you in some sense. I think people get so caught up in all the information, they forget they have to go verify the information. So you get information, but you got to go verify it. Verifying it is through meeting people and saying, hey, I heard about this, but is this accurate? Okay, can you show me an example? And the only way you're going to get that example is by having proximity or access, which is just the reality of it. If they come into me, my best tool is this. We have a one-on-one consultation, see where you're at. I say, hey, we need to do this, this, and this. All right, grab the ebook. All right, if you do this, you're good. All right, if you do this and I see you do this, all right, let's go do the property tour. Let me show you how to really see a property, how to really do an assessment, how to really dive into it. All right, cool. You did a property tour. All right, let's see how we're going to get you with the money. You don't have any money right now? All right, cool. Let's do this. Let's see how you can get a loan for whatever assets you may have. And let's do a deal that has minimal repercussions, meaning that it's the safest deal you can possibly do with that money you're borrowing to not fumble. It may not be the fastest deal you're going to find on the market, but if you do one deal and make $50,000, I mean, bruh, you have a job already. My goodness gracious, you just made $50,000. Now, if you want to replicate it after you paid that money you borrowed, maybe from a friend or relative, or you borrowed against your house, or you borrowed against a credit card, like honestly, I sometimes I flip to my house, I use my credit card out, I get the rewards, you lose. But that's another story. But and then we lay it out, and then once you've done that, you can move on to the next thing. What happens is we're so caught up in, oh, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, and we never just do it. Just don't. And I'm guilty of that too. There's things I want to do right now. I'm like, do I really want to do this? I'm comfortable. But where there's comfortability, there's complacency, there's always going to be opportunity for someone else to come in. So that's what I would say. I know that. I hope that was a minute, because I was looking at the timer on there and see if that was
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, you're all good, man. For sure.
You're good, man. You're good. So, I mean, Julian, I don't know if you have any last question, but I think this was, of course, I mean, we have great interviews, man. When we bring people here, you know, it's so amazing, because ideally we wanna educate our community. You know, it's Absolutely. You know, we do life insurance, and we help you with your finances, but that's not the only industry out there. You know, we want to educate you on real estate. We want to educate you on different things. So, you know, we thank you for coming today, man. And I know you're tired. We told you we was going to drain you a little bit more, you know.
You drain me. My wife is texting me right now. Just joking. But, you guys are good, man. I'm glad I was able to provide some type of value for your audience. And life insurance is a good tool people can use. But once they get to that point, but if you're not going to do real estate, the biggest way to get rich is get multiple life insurance policies. Right. When you die, you become rich. Now you don't get to enjoy it, but the people that you leave behind gets to enjoy it.
That's true. And unless they invest into that IUL and actually really build it up and get that compound interest, and maybe they can get to use it while they're alive. But infinite, you know, banking. There you go. Absolutely. That whole infinite banking concept. But anyway, thank
For
you
sure.
again for coming, man. We appreciate you. Thank you for showing up.
do.
We did get a lot of great, what you call it, jams here. So it was a great night, and I'm still very excited for this interview. Julian, I don't know if there's any last word you want to say to the viewers before we go.
Yeah, always, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Another episode of the Agent and Broker podcast. Thanks to Gene for coming and dropping these gems. But I want to let him also, put his call to action in here on how you guys can come in and work with him, possibly work with him or work with his group and everything. You could follow him on Instagram at Real Estate Full Circle. I didn't put his personal profile out there. I don't know if he wants that yet, but
nope,
we got the business profile here, and you can follow that there. Even if you go back in the videos, you can probably see him take some people to property. So you guys may get a chance to do that. You know what I'm saying? So go follow the content, go show some love. Like he said, do your research on him, who he is, and what you want to do before you reach out. Don't just like, hey, I want to, with a simple question, like, okay, do your research, do your due diligence, then come to him with value. Then, hey, you may get something out of that, get more than what you were expecting if you come to the table with value yourself.
Yeah,
and you do your
wasting his time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, I appreciate you, gentlemen, man. Thank you so much. If anyone wants to connect, if you guys looking to buy any piece of real estate, whether you're buying for your personal home or you're buying for a second investment, my company will love the opportunity to do it. And if you're looking to invest, I would love to invest with you or teach you how to invest in the way that I maybe see works with your current situation. We make real estate full circle for you. And if I don't, I refer you to someone else who can actually assist you. I don't try to keep it to myself. And I point you in the right direction so you can go where you need to go. But I will say this, anyone that really, really wants to do something and you really reach out to me, and if you reach out with a detail of what you want to do and you kind of break it down, I'm more responsive to that. When you send me vague messages, hey, I want to get into real estate. What does that mean? Want to become a realtor? You want to do wholesale? You want to flip houses?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if your thoughts are that far out, it's not narrowed in, it's hard for me to help you.
Right.
100%.
So,
hey, that's
it. And go follow me on social media if you like. And I eat a lot too. I post all my food on social media.
100%.
Yeah.
You like a good meal.
Yes, sir. We all do. Yes, sir.
All right, man. Until next time, my brother. Thanks again. Have a good night, everybody.
Appreciate it, bro.
Have a good night.
Yes, sir.
The agent and the broker put you on the right path. And if it ain't adding up, then do the right math. And when you wanna come up, some might laugh. But them be the types to be the overnight staff. Always be your worker. We tryna be some owners. Sometimes might strike out, sometimes we hitting homers. But one thing's for sure, when the money gets uncovered, hit the agent and the broker. Say thank you to my brothers.